In Japanese, taiko means big drum. Introduced from China and Korea over 1,500 years ago, nowadays the taiko is a feature of festivals and ceremonies all over Japan. Individual drums can still be heard in temples and shrines, but it's the performance of a full taiko group that really gets the pulse racing. In stark contrast, the birth of these monster drums is anything but hurried and happens in deceptively peaceful surroundings. This is the Japanese city of Hakusan, where Asano Taiko have been making some of the finest drums for over 400 years. Ordinary drums might be made from numerous pieces of wood, but taiko are no ordinary drums. Each is carved from the solid trunk of a centuries-old tree, and the best taiko come from a type of Japanese elm called Zelkova serrata. Company president Yasuo Asano explains why.
このケヤキっていうのは他の材質には出ない音、素晴らしい綺麗な音が出る。もう一つその作り上げた時の木目の美しさ。
A large drum needs a huge tree, and that means an absolute minimum of 200 years old. In the workshop, the titanic trunk is cut into drum-sized chunks with a chainsaw. Even these smaller pieces weigh in at 120 kilograms, so they're maneuvered into position by crane. It's Shinichi Takibi's job to somehow turn this immense piece of wood into the body of a drum. Using a giant lathe, his first task is to remove the bark and trim the trunk until it matches the drum's diameter. Now comes the difficult bit, machining out the solid central mass to create the hollow inside of a drum. The solution is this special tool, which slices through the wood and cuts the inside out. A perfect core is then carefully removed as one single solid piece of wood. Nothing goes to waste. The core will go through the same process all over again to make another, smaller drum. In the meantime, for his super drum, Shinichi hollows the trunk to create the distinctive concave shape. Next, the outside of the body is carved and the shell of the drum is complete. But it's far from finished. The problem is that the wood has a moisture content of around 60%, which will naturally reduce over time, causing the drum's shape and size to change. So first the drums are dried in the storage room.
こちらの方で自然乾燥におよそ3年から5年寝かせておいておきます。3年から5年寝かせた後、次には煙乾燥または真空乾燥の方で太鼓の胴を完全に乾燥させます。
The drums spend the final few months in the smokehouse, where smouldering wood shavings keep humidity levels low. And bigger drums spend another 2 months in a special low humidity, temperature-controlled vacuum house. After over 200 years in the ground and up to 5 years simply drying out, at last the wood is ready for its final carving. Planing it is a crucial step. Any mistake and years will have been wasted. Katsuyuki Yura trained for 10 years before he was skilled enough to finish a drum by hand. Once he's happy, the shell is sanded and polished to bring out the beautiful grain of the wood. The next step is to carve the inside of the drum's body. It's a meticulous process which directly affects the sound of each drum.
こちらの方は綾彫りと言いますけど、これはよく舞台で演奏するときに使われる彫り方であります。
Incredibly, something as simple as a change from a fan shape to a turtleback pattern can alter the taiko's sound, depending on where it will be played.
これは亀甲彫りと言います。この彫り方は、外で、使われるお祭り なんかによく使われるんですけども。
This fine-tuning of the drum's body is the result of hundreds of years of knowledge and experience.
次にこれも鱗彫りといいまして、遠くに音を響かせたり重低音を出すためにこういった彫り方をしてあります。
With the body painstakingly completed, the wood is lacquered and stained. Then decorative handles are added. Next, it needs a cowhide skin. Shigeo Oku has been skinning taiko for 15 years. The problem is that he needs to create a force equivalent to 20 tons to stretch the skin enough to get the right tension. And to do that, he needs just one length of rope and some wooden pegs.
この作業をやる上で一番重要なのはロープを均等な強さで張っていくことです。ロープをねじることで短くなる力が発生しますが、その力を利用して皮を引っ張ります。
It can take up to 12 hours of constant tweaking and tightening to get a drum of this size to the right tension.
こちらはいつでも秒の打てる状態です。見てください。これだけ皮が伸びているのが分かりますよね。
The skin can then be nailed carefully into place. It might look like a very big drum, but compared with the really big taiko, this is barely a bongo. This immense taiko weighs around 2 tons. It was carved from the trunk of a tree that was over 700 years old. By anyone's reckoning, this is a big drum. And it brings with it a big problem for Shigeo and his team. How do you tighten the skin of a drum that's as high as a house? The answer, in a fashion only the Japanese could dream up. It's an ingenious solution, and the force of 6 men bouncing is just enough to stretch the skin and allow the ropes and pegs to be tightened. And they look like they're enjoying themselves into the bargain. It takes an entire week of bouncing, pulling and tightening before the skin is ready for a sound check. And Shigeo needs something a little bigger than his thumb to check this taiko's sound. Hammer time. Given the all clear, this huge taiko will go on to take centre stage as the booming 700-year-old heartbeat of a Japanese taiko band.